Oklahoma is emerging as an important participant in COVID-19 vaccine research. 2 human clinical trials are underway in our state, and the overall poor health of Oklahomans may help provide a better understanding of how the virus works. ONR's Jason Doyle reports.
Sources tell the Oklahoma News Report Phase 3 human clinical trials for a COVID-19 vaccine are underway in Oklahoma. Not just one, but 2 major pharmaceutical companies are conducting the tests, Moderna and Pfizer.
A phase 3 clinical trial is the third component of a stepwise approach to proving the safety and efficacy. It is primarily geared to determine if the vaccine actually works.
The Lynn Health Science Institute is conducting the tests in Oklahoma for those companies.
There's 10 vaccines that I know of that are in phase 1. There's another 9 that are in phase 2 clinical trials, and there's 4 that are in phase 3 clinical trials.
Moderna has 300 Oklahomans participating in its phase 3 trial. The volunteers get 1 dose at the beginning of the trial and another 28 days later. Oklahoma's poor health ranking is one factor that makes our state a good testing ground. Another is our large Native American population.
I'm sure that one of the big factors in us getting money from the NIH was because we had access to Native American patients. We know that Native Americans have a high incidence of diabetes and obesity and hypertension, and these are all, bad signs for coronavirus infection.
Phase 3 clinical trials require thousands of people to volunteer to take the experimental vaccine.
In the current ones, there's about 30,000 people. Half of them get the vaccine, half of them get a placebo, and then you wait and see what happens with infections in the community.
The researchers observe the volunteers closely. If those who got the vaccine have less occurrences, that indicates the vaccine is effective.
If there's no difference, that proves it's not effective. And in some cases, people might even do worse, which is the reason why you follow the vaccine carefully to make sure that there's no unintended safety issues.
In earlier trial phases, the 2 leading vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer have shown minor side effects.
So far with the vaccines we've seen, which is the Pfizer and the Moderna, I think it's 70% of the people report headaches and fever. Both are mild, and there's some soreness at the site of delivery. Most of these responses have been mild. Very few to no hospitalizations associated with it.
Even as the front-running vaccines are entering the final phase of clinical testing, researchers continue to work on other aspects of a vaccine.
We don't know what kind of protection you're going to get from these. We don't know if elderly will be protected, if young will be protected with this, maybe one or the other, if it'll need to be augmented with maybe the targets that we have, or if a different vaccine will need to be for one population versus another.
The research at OU Health Sciences Center is focused on finding aspects of the COVID-19 virus that make it a good component for a vaccine.
So our strategy's been a little bit different, and right now we've identified which targets we would put into a vaccine. We have a basket of targets, and we're winnowing that basket down to a few targets that we would include in a vaccine. So that's what we've been doing.
The Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation is looking into what kinds of antibodies are produced when a person gets infected with COVID-19.
And the goal of our study is to really understand why some people have mild disease and other people have very serious disease.
The research will support COVID-19 vaccine development efforts in the long term.
Not in these initial vaccines, because we need to get a vaccine developed now and distributed to the population. So we can't wait for the kinds of results that we're going to get, which will take us probably a couple of years.
The federal government and various pharmaceutical companies are taking on vaccine production now instead of waiting to see if the vaccines are effective at countering COVID-19.
The companies are already starting to manufacture the doses in anticipation that they will have a safe and effective vaccine. That's the financial risk that the government is making in order to make sure that we have it in a timely fashion.
They're developing and testing their vaccine, but very unusual is they're also making doses of the vaccine. So multiple groups are doing this. They're getting government money, and they're not only testing the vaccine, but they're making the vaccine and getting it ready for delivery, making millions of doses.
Once the vaccine is proven effective through the phase 3 clinical trials, those ready-made doses can be quickly distributed. but pinning down a timeline for that is difficult.
Well, again, you could never make guarantees when you do this, but the projection from experience and the way things are planned now, we hope by the end of this year, by the late fall, early winter, that we will know whether the vaccine is safe and effective.
Dr. Deborah Birx of the White House Coronavirus Task Force is scheduled to visit Oklahoma next week to take a look at the state's pandemic response. Jason Doyle, the Oklahoma News Report.